I have to say this, subhanallah. When it comes to the in-laws, brothers and sisters, a lot of people still fail to see the difference, the separating line between what is their wife's right, their husband's right, their parents' right, their mother's right, their father's right, and so on. Brothers and sisters, Allah has given everyone their right. Let me give you a formula very quickly. The principle is, at school where I was teaching, I have sometimes sisters who come up to me who say, I have children, should I stop teaching and go to my children? I said, no, don't stop teaching unless your children are still small. If they are, I say, between 0 and 8 years old, generally speaking, studies have shown that they need their mothers more. I say spend more time with your children, because raising a human being is the greatest dignity and triumph and honor that you can have. So, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying is that let's look at the family institution as the most important institution. And finally, we find that, for example, Islam puts more favor in being nice and good and bir to the mother than the father. There's no equality there. Number 2, the man's obligation to spend on the house and family needs completely is his obligation, but it did not make that obligation on the woman, even if she is richer in money than her husband. Number 3, the man is obliged to fight and protect the woman, but the woman is not obliged to protect the man. Number 4, the man is not allowed to wear gold and silk, but women are allowed to beautify themselves in that way, but not for the men. Number 5, in divorce, child stays in the care of the mother rather than the father. Obviously, there's more to say about that, but I wanted to highlight, brothers and sisters, the ayah in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, do not covet, don't wish to possess what Allah has conferred more abundantly on some of you than others. Men shall have a share according to what they have earned, and women shall have a share according to what they have earned. Do ask Allah of His bounty. Allah has full knowledge of everything. My dear brothers and sisters, there's much to say about the family institute. And I do advise and encourage my brothers and sisters to learn more, not only about the rights that your spouse owes you, or your parents owe you, or your children owe you. Rather, grab a good, well-written and endorsed book or somewhere online or in a class or a course that teaches you the rights of the other person, Wife, learn the rights of your husband. Husband, learn the rights of your wife. Children, learn the rights of your parents. Parents, learn the rights of your children. And then do it to the best of your ability. And I promise you, the Sharia system is in such a way that if you give and the other person also fears Allah, you will receive. It is balanced. So, marriage is mutual. It cannot be just from one side. If a wife fears Allah and is so good to her husband, but he's not, it's not going to be a successful marriage. If the husband is so good to his wife and she is not, it's not going to be a successful marriage. And remember to to forgive one another and to pardon one another. I have to say this, subhanallah. When it comes to the in-laws, brothers and sisters, a lot of people still fail to see the difference, the separating line between what is their wife's right, their husband's right, their parents' right, their mother's right, their father's right, and so on. Brothers and sisters, Allah has given everyone their right. Let me give you a formula very quickly. The principle is, your mother and your father, their right upon you is what involves you and them. If they need something to help them with, that's your duty to help them with. When is the line drawn? It is when what your parents want of you is at the expense of your wife's right or your children's right, not your own right. You can give up a lot of your own rights for your parents and you'll be rewarded for it. But if it means taking from the rights that Allah had given to the wife and the children, you need to learn what they are. They're not too many. Then this is haram. For example, if the mother or the father wants to know about your wife's financial affairs, that is not their right to know. It is not birr and goodness to the parents to tell them about her own personal affairs. If, for example, some parents kindly, they compassionately do ask, about children and whether pregnancy is happening at any stage, but that's okay. That's out of kindness and compassion. But if, for example, a parent says you must have a child within the first year, you have the choice of listening or not listening. This is the right of both the husband and wife. Naming the child, for example, how you want to eat, how you want to live. But your parents' right is what is between you and them, their own rights, not at the expense of others. That is the drawing. This is what Allah has sent down. Same, whether it's the father or the mother-in-law or the brother-in-law or the sister-in-law of both husband and wife. The wife doesn't tell her mother and father, or at the expense of her husband's rights also goes there. No. Balance it out, inshallah. I had a couple who said, I have a mother who wants me, the husband said, I have to go to her house every single day after work. And my wife would have prepared a meal, and my mother always prepares a meal. But, my wife, when I get home, she says to me, Taib, I've been cooking all day. The mother says, I raised you all my life and you forgot all about my food. What's he going to do? We said to him, go and sit down with your wife and husband and you devise a strategy. The husband and wife communicate and you make a strategy together. Do it together. And so when they opened up like that, they decided, listen, from work, I will go past my mother's house, but I will stay only for 10 minutes and I'll eat a bit. And if I need to talk more, I'll talk more and she'll feel like I ate a lot. Yeah, and she might say you're not eating or whatever, but, do your best. You can't get everything 100%. And after you finish, you just smile to her and you kiss her and you give her no justifications. And don't tell her, but my wife is cooked. Don't even mention your wife. She said to him, don't even mention me husband. She told him that. And then if his mother said anything, what he has to do is show her kindness and love. I do that with my mother. Alhamdulillah, it's very rare now, but in the past she used to get upset with me for certain things. But even now, the last time she got upset with me for something I did that was very, very minor. But, even at this age, subhanAllah, I didn't realize at all. But when I realized afterwards, I came and kissed her and hugged her. And she told me lots of things. She said, I love you the most and I want to do this. And I just smiled and said, Wallah, Mama, I love you. I agree. Even if I disagree, I just smile and love her and kiss her. That's all she wants. That's all the husband wants. The husband, the husband wants that too. The father, thank me later, inshallah. Thank you. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. But they agreed. And then he goes, go over to his wife. That way the wife knows and they agreed on it. They were a team. His mother's happy, inshallah, to a certain extent. His wife is happy to a certain extent. He's happy to a certain extent. Alhamdulillah. So work as a team, my dear brothers and sisters. There's always a way, inshallah ta'ala, rather than you and why. And these languages don't work in a marriage, subhanallah. And someone told me to mention this, and I think I should. In a community, my dear brothers and sisters, both the husband and wife should be involved in something in the community. What do I mean by that? Yani, for a child to be raised well, the mother needs her spiritual digestion as well. The husband goes to the masjid 5 times a day or whatever. And I see that sometimes in some communities, the wife, she's not allowed to go to the masjid. I was here in Masjid al-Quds, mashallah, and I was so impressed and happy to see a whole section for women upstairs. And I think some people look and say, well, if she goes to the masjid, there's going to be fitna and all that stuff. And the Prophet ﷺ said her prayer at home is better than the masjid. Yes, that's true. But that's not a black and white rule. Rasul ﷺ also said, لا تمنعوا إماء الله مساجد الله ليلا. Do not prevent the women of Allah, the worshippers of Allah, the women, to go to the masjid even at night. There is still a benefit for them to go to the masjid and be around gatherings of Quran and praying and making dua, getting their spiritual digestion, coming back home and teaching their children or even taking them with them. So brothers, assist your wives in their education, their spiritual communities. Sisters, even if it's 1 or 2 a week, have those gatherings. And wallahi, brothers, you will benefit, inshallah, if your wife fears Allah more and starts to learn her deen more. And inshallah ta'ala, my dear sisters, please, I have a lot of brothers who complain to me these days in the 21st century. They say, brother, our wives are mistreating us. Now, we used to laugh about it, but for example, in Australia and the new laws that are up there, a lot of women ask Allah that you're not one of them. A lot of women, when it comes to these things, they're quick to jump to the law and the police. Of course, if she is in danger or in harm, I encourage them to get protection, yes. But some of them actually use the law for their advantage. And I know a lot of brothers and fathers who cry to me on the phone that I was a good father, I was a good husband. I just made 1 or 2 mistakes and now I can't see my children. I've lost all my home. I'm afraid to even be a man anymore. And I can see a big problem happening. I'm sure, inshallah, here in South Africa, you're not like that. But I wanted to throw it out there in case things do develop like this. Remember, we have our Sharia and we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who will question us. So both the husbands, treat your wives with goodness and respect and value her, and the reward will come back to you and your children. And dear sisters, reciprocate and value your husband. 1 word from you goes a long way, and appreciate what he does. I promise you, wallahi, it will mean the world to him, the world, and to you. And watch your children grow up in a healthy environment. Even if you fight, brothers and sisters, you fight in front of your children, let your children know this is normal. But here's what I'm going to advise you. If you fight in front of your children, of course, minor fights, reconcile in front of your children. Do you hear that? Make sure you go out of your way and say, hold on. The wife comes, says, husband, put your hand in my hand, and she wants to do the whole thing. And you say, hold on. In front of our children. Come here, son. Me and your mother, we had a little argument, and this is very normal, and we all make mistakes. But the important thing, son and daughter, is that we fix it. That's how life is. So that when your son grows up and he has a wife, he remembers what his father did. Because that's the first place we look at. What did my father used to do? When your daughter grows up, she will think, what did my mother used to do? Generation after generation. Allah bless you.